your experience in the South Africa Field Study Program helps tie in classroom learning with global experience?
It didn't so much tie in anything that I've learned in the classroom as it did. It gave it real meaning and depth. I mean, it's one thing when you're sitting in a managerial accounting class day after day and you learn all of these accounting theories or all these business theories, and it's something else to travel halfway around the world and to interact with people who are starting real businesses and really have their real emotions and their real lives in stake. So it really gave meaning and depth and like real applicable importance to what I was learning in the classroom, which until I got on this trip was really just a textbook deep. It's it was only as important as the next test. So it really gave you a motivation to use these skills with, and something to.
For the College of Arts and Sciences side of me, it was really interesting to finally see what I'd only been able to read about, what Austin talked about before, that it is one thing to sit in your globalization class and hear about apartheid and to hear about townships and to hear numbers like how many people live on less than $1 a day, and it's another to actually go into the townships and to see people that are living without running water and electricity. And it's another to meet, another thing to meet these people and to have a face and a name to who these people are. And so that was really powerful for me to be able to take what I had just read about and see it. And it was also great to have business classes in the morning and then in the afternoon go out in the township and see those businesses in action and see what I had just learned about.
So going into the townships and trying to figure out where you can take your skills that you've gained here at Northeastern and use them to help these people was just an absolutely amazing experience. And also to find out where areas where you're lacking and to come back here and then try to seek out those classes to improve yourself to be able to go back the next time and do an even better job, I think was very valuable from my standpoint.
The first and foremost is definitely the student interaction, which we've already talked about, the interaction with SEBA students. The other being the site visits and the immediate feedback on what you were learning in the morning, within a few hours of being, in some cases, introduced to it for non-business majors or, refreshed in the case of business majors. For example, we talked about, opportunistic business models, seeing an opportunity and going in, not necessarily with something that's terribly innovative, but that's not innovative in terms of the technology, but it's innovative in terms of how it's being applied. So, we talked about that, and then we went to Mzoli's place, which was a high-class barbecue braai type restaurant in a township, which was not something which had been done to date. We talked about social entrepreneurship and its impact on skill building for workers, and then we went to Kailicha Cookies and immediately saw how that could actually be carried out in practice. We talked about sustainability and how introducing a for-profit model can help to make these initiatives much more effective. And then we went to Streetwires, which is a company that basically there's a resident artist that designs these very intricate wire contraptions, sculptures, devices in some cases, and then basically contracts out the work to have previously untrained, unskilled people get the skills that they need and then have a steady source of revenue. And I know that was particularly popular with us. We must have brought back at least 4 or 5 Streetwire radios. But then, some people would say, well, you're there, you're doing this. What happens once you leave? Does it stick with you? And I would say, if you had to look for evidence that it does, look at the papers that we had to write coming back, because obviously they need something to record that you've actually been working for a month. So we came back and we wrote papers, we did more research. And one thing I came across definitely sort of exemplified that I had taken something away from the experience, and that was I researched a company called Kopanong Catering Company, which is basically it was a completed version of one of the projects that we had been working on. which was Pro Team SA, which was a tour or a township experience opportunity for travelers coming to South Africa looking to get a deeper view of the townships. And basically what I came across was a fully realized version of this, where basically an entire network of people within a township had been contracted in to create an experience, to provide craft services, to provide cooking services, to provide a bed and breakfast experience. And it just pulled everything together. And I could, having experienced these businesses, I had a very vivid kind of picture of it in my mind, and I was able to sort of present it in a way that I wouldn't have been able to with just pure research behind it.
For me, going through 4 years of classroom and co-op experience at Northeastern, I had never thought that the experience in South Africa would affect me how it has, and it's an experience that'll sit with me for the rest of my life, and I'll take it with me through work. And it just learning about how businesses like Alicia Cookies and Streetwires can give people opportunities, train them, teach them life skills, support their families, and how it trickles down. I never knew that business, especially entrepreneurship, could have such an impact on people's lives, and how that giving a parent a job can send their child to school, and then their child gets educated, and it keeps trickling down. And I never would have known that and understood that, and I never would have had the drive and passion to continue to pursue social entrepreneurship had I not gone on that experience. So I think overall, it was the perfect cap to my experience at Northeastern. It was the perfect cap.
I think that it tied the classroom experience to the actual real world experiences, because a lot of the projects that we were working on were not projects that you could have done in say the United States, and so we needed the classroom experience, and then consulting with our fellow CEBA students, and then with the entrepreneurs there, we're able to take the basic business business knowledge from that we were taught in school, scale it to a South African environment, with the help of our CEBA students there, and then basically implement it on the projects that we were working on there. And then although we didn't stay long enough to actually see them come full circle, you get a sense of accomplishment, because you had a presentation at the end, and I'm still I still talk to the consultant client which we worked with, and we continue to help him try to build that business. And for us, our business was actually, for a lot of the businesses are businesses that are actually gonna come to life, and then 5-6 years down the line you'll be able to see, well, I worked on that, oh my God, I can't believe, and so it was very real, and very, and to think that you helped start it up was very good.